Anne of Green Gables, Chapter 1. Mrs. Rachel Lynde is surprised. From Daisy 11. We are all pretty well, said Mrs. Rachel. I was kind of afraid you weren't, though. When I saw Matthew starting off today, I thought maybe he was going to the doctor's. Marilla's lips twitched understandingly. She had expected Mrs. Rachel up. She had known that the sight of Matthew jaunting off so uncountable would be too much for her neighbor's curiosity. Oh no, I am quite well, although I had a bad headache yesterday, she said. Matthew went to Bright River. We are getting a little boy from an orphan asylum in Nova Scotia, and he's coming on the train tonight. If Marilla had said that Matthew had gone to Bright River to meet a kangaroo from Australia, Mrs. Rachel could not have been more astonished. She was actually stricken dumb for 5 seconds. It was unsupposable that Marilla was making fun of her, but Mrs. Rachel was almost the first to suppose it. Are you in earnest, Marilla? She demanded when voice returned to her. Yes, of course, said Marilla, as if getting a boy from orphan asylums in Nova Scotia were part of the usual spring work on any well-regulated Avonlea farm instead of being an unheard of innovation. Mrs. Rachel felt that she had receiving a severe mental jolt. She thought in exclamation points, a boy, Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert of all people adopting a boy from an orphan asylum. Well, the world was certainly turning upside down. She would be surprised at nothing after this. Nothing. What on earth put such a notion into your head? She demanded disapprovingly. This had been done without her advice being asked, and must perforce be disapproved. Well, we've been thinking about it for some time, all winter in fact, returned Marilla. Mrs. Alexander Spencer was up here one day before Christmas, and she said she was going to get a little girl from the asylum over in Hopeton in the spring. Her cousin lives there, and Mrs. Spencer has visited here and knows all about it. So Matthew and I have talked it over off and on ever since. We thought we'd get a boy. Matthew is getting up in years. You know, he's 60, and he isn't so spry as he once was. His heart troubled him a good deal, and you know how desperate heart is got to be get hired help. There's never anybody to be had but those stupid half-grown little French boys, and as soon as you get one broke into your ways and taught thumping it up and off to the lobster canneries over the States. At first Matthew suggested getting a homeboy, but I said no flat to that. They may be all right, I'm not saying they are not, but no London Street Arabs for me, I said. Give me a native born at least. There's a risk no matter how we got, but I will feel easier in my mind and sleep sounder at nights if we get a born Canadian. So in the end, we decided to ask Mrs. Spencer to pick us out when she went over to get her little girl. We heard last week she was going, so we sent her word by Richard Spencer's folks at Carmody to bring us a smart, likely boy of about 10 or 11. We decided it would be the best age. old enough to be of some use in doing chores right off, and young enough to be trained up proper. We mean to give him a good home and schooling. We had a telegram from Mrs. Alexander Spencer today. The mailman brought it from the station, saying they were coming on the 5:30 training night. So Matthew went to Bright River to meet him. Mrs. Spencer will drop him off there. Of course, she goes on to White Sands Station herself.